Hey everyone, welcome. If you are catching me replay, tonight is like one of the best nights to catch me on replay. My husband bought a new monitor and this is just like so much nicer. Obviously you can't see what I see, but it looks really cool. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you missed me, no worries, because what I do at the start of my live readings is I do a group reading for everybody. So if you have a question, bring it. Your intention and your thoughts can be sent out even if it's replay, and the answer can still apply to your question. So we're going to start with that tonight. And then after that, we are going to be talking to our guides. And I just so basically, before every Thursday night, I kind of ask my guides, hey, what's the theme of tonight? What's needed tonight? And so I kind of just sit with them intuitively and I just go with whatever. Sometimes they'll be like, grab this tarot deck. People need messages from this. Sometimes they're like, do a speed reading because a lot of people just need to be getting messages, or do a theme, talk about animals, talk about this. And so tonight, the energy that I got was like, your guides want to talk to you guys really bad. They want to not just like introduce themselves, but they want to start a conversation that you guys can continue from here on out. And so I sort of asked like, okay, how can I do that with everybody? And they sort of put this idea in my head of doing like a Mad Lib. And now I've done these before. So when I went to the Aspen program for psychic development, my teacher made Mad Libs. So, the Mad Libs that you like buy, and they're like pads. You have to like pick out adjective, noun, this, that. And you write them all down, and then you plug them in, or you have somebody do it for you, and then you read the full thing, and it's like funny. But my mentor had done this in the program, and so she did it with your guides, and so it was like a message from your guides. And so I did those forever ago, and my guides were kind of like, "Oh, you should do that." And I was like, "Well, I don't know how to do it." And they're like, "Just auto write, and we will do the rest." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I've just been doing this like auto writing. It's really rough, but I've got the spaces for you guys, and we're gonna basically fill in this Mad Lib. I'll take you through like a short meditation. You guys will write down the answers to the Mad Lib, and then I'll read through it, and it'll be a personalized message for you from your guide. More than I would do just with a tarot reading. That's just like for like something really quick over live, I guess, if that makes sense. So we're going to do that after a bit. I want to let a few more people get in here, but if you are watching replay, go down to the comments below. I will leave a time code of when that actually starts. But yeah, let's do the group reading first. Let's see who's in here. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Monica. Monica, you are going to get a really fun one if you stick around tonight with me. Again, we are doing Mad Libs tonight, and I'm so excited. I'm going to do it too. I'm really like, even though I wrote it, I was so focused on like the analytical part of it of like, oh, the numbers, and oh, we're trying to remember what the heck, an adjective or a noun was. I know what those mean, but sometimes you get them confused, especially like descriptors. I can never decide if those are like adjectives or nouns. Anyway, Pris, what a great night to join. Thanks so much. And please subscribe, you guys. This week I have a review video going up. I don't want those cards. And next week I'm going to have another exercise video. I try to alternate them. Sorry, my cousin's been coming through all day today. All day. Bubbles, his card just like popped out. When he had his funeral, we made these little like book card or book what do they call it? Bookmarks. And I forgot that I had put them in these cards, and he just popped out. Alrighty, let's do this group reading. All right, if you're watching live, if you're watching replay, send me your questions, send the universe your energy, put the question out there and let it go. If you want, you can throw it up in the chat, just because sometimes I'll use that for context, or sometimes it helps you just kind of release it more. But I set the intention that everyone asking a question, replay or live, that these cards will answer that question. And this is kind of just my way, if you don't get your own message, over the night. Everyone leaves with something. You all will definitely leave with something for this Mad Lib. And for that, by the way, get a piece of paper and pen ready while you're sort of listening, because you are going to need that. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Lori. It's been a while. I'm so excited for tonight, you guys. I'm so excited to see how this turns out. Okay, send me your questions. What are the answers? I'm hearing the answers are to chill out. So funny how I pull a lot of the same cards out of the same deck. So first I pulled Peaks of Joy, and this card I pulled in reverse. And I think right now we're feeling pretty depressed. Like things are just not going our way. Things are not working. And this is a reminder that there's ups and downs. And just because you're in a down spot does not mean there won't be an up. It's part of the process is what I'm hearing. And they're telling me to go to this next card. This next card is Wishing Well. I also pulled it in reverse. And so this card is usually about, what intentions are you sending out to the universe? I think I shared on my Facebook page like 2 days ago, and it was something to the effect of like, worrying is like praying for what you don't want. And so that's kind of like this card. When you're putting out your intentions unknowingly, when you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, and you're putting it in the wishing well unknowingly, you get back what you put in. And this is sort of the idea of law of attraction. And when you're constantly putting out negative energy, you're telling the universe, this is what I want. This is what I like. This is what I need. And so the universe is like, okay, cool. We'll send you more negativity. And so I think our guys are wanting us to pay attention because I pulled this in reverse. They're trying to say, pay attention to what thoughts you're putting out there. Are you really getting into that victim mentality right now? And I mean, it makes sense. If we're feeling depressed or we're feeling just like things aren't going well for us, it's really hard to get out of that mentality. It's really hard to switch that positive thinking and switch to that positive thinking. And one of the things we can do is just be grateful for what we have. When we focus on the things that are going well for us, that's just one positive thing we can be putting out there that we are attracting more positivity with. And they were saying one other thing. What was it? The phrase, ask yourself, what is this doing for me? So instead of, asking like, how is this harming me? Why, or how is this screwing up my whole life? Instead asking, what is it doing for me? How is it benefiting me? And so when you get into the mode of, I'm going to try to find the positive in every situation, even if it's really negative and things are really rough, you get into that positive mindset a lot more. So I think our guys are just wanting us to examine how we are putting out our energy and to also understand that it's just part of the process. Sometimes things are just they don't work, and that's okay. And I have a feeling that some of you guys might get additional information with this Mad Lib that I sort of created. And then the last card that I pulled, Talisman. Talisman, I like to take this card. I think I'm taking this card literally. Sometimes I take it more figuratively, but in this reading, I'm feeling like they're saying, okay, if this is really clicking with you, find something, find like an object. She's holding like this like orby thing. Find an object that will remind you to stay positive and remind you that, things are up and things are down. Something that motivates you, or at least something that reassures you. And so a lot of times I say, if it's a quote, awesome. Like print out a quote and put it like on your bathroom mirror or somewhere on your fridge, like where you're often. I'm also hearing them say to write like an abundance list. This is something, I have a piece of paper on my fridge, and every time something goes good for me, I put it on the fridge. And that could be money things. It could be relationship things. It could be times that I hang out with friends. And when you retrain your brain to focus on the good and not the bad, it just helps attract more of it. And so they're saying to have something physical. This card is about just having a physical reminder. So that could even be a stone. Like if you really feel attracted to crystals and you're like, I'm going to go out and buy a crystal that reminds me to stay positive and happy. And maybe you put it somewhere in your living room. And then every time you look at that crystal, you're like, oh, that's my happy crystal. Whatever it is that works for you. It could be printing out a picture, a quote. It could be buying something physical. It could be a shirt. It could be like a bracelet or like a lucky charm. Anything like that. Find something that represents this positive thinking for you, this positive mindset, getting out of woe is me is kind of, I keep hearing victim mentality. And I think that's just going to be an extra help to help you guys remember how to do this. So yeah, that's the group reading for tonight. I really love that. I kind of really needed that. So that was good for me. So if you're just joining me, you guys, I'm doing a group reading. I think I'm going to let a few more people get in here. So I'm going to do one reading where we guess, but then we're doing some Mad Libs tonight. So get a piece of paper, get a pen, because that's kind of the title that I threw up, is the personalized message from your guide. I've got a Mad Lib, and I'll explain it again when we're about to do it. And it's basically going to be a direct message from your guides to you. I'm really excited. Excuse me. Hang on. I need a water. I'm somebody that has to have like huge water cups because I drink so much water. Okay, let's do a reading. So if you are on live and if you can guess the color that I'm thinking of, I'm going to do it easy. If you can guess the color that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. And after this reading, we will jump into those Mad Libs. So stick around. I'm so excited to do them with you guys. We're basically going to do a meditation. And then I'm going to throw out, we have 23 words, which is kind of a lot. But and you're going to write down all the words. And then I'm going to read you the script. And you're going to get that message from your guides. If you can guess the color that I'm thinking of, you get the next reading. Elena, you got it. It was yellow. Oh. Lori, you were like half a second after her. You're so close. Elena, let me know in the comments what your question is. Oh, and I forgot to say that part of what I was going to do tonight, since it's all about connecting with your guides, I wanted to pull one card for everybody, or for whoever I'm reading, of how you can connect with your guides better. So Elena, how you specifically can connect with your guide is solitude. And that's pretty common. I think a lot of times when we're alone, we can connect with our guides better. But Elena, what I'm hearing for this is that this is really broad for you. You just have to be alone. So maybe you feel like you have to do something like specific, but it's like anytime you're alone, I'm seeing like maybe you're at a lake or you're on a hike or you're taking a bath, or it doesn't matter where. It's just the fact that you're like with your thoughts. Thank you, Pris. This is kind of how I do my readings. Instead of doing like a list, I just do fun guessing games, because then it opens up the energy for you guys, not only to practice your psychic ability, which I'm all about teaching you guys how to use that, but I'm setting the intention that whoever needs it most will get it. And sometimes people will literally guess like a few times in a row. And so if that happens, I ask them to just pass it along to somebody else. So yeah, just waiting for Elena to let me know what her question is. I feel like I keep getting guidance to end my relationship, but wasn't sure. So was hoping for guidance on my relationship. Alrighty. I have to wipe the slate clean because I remember when we did speed readings last week, I think I remember reading for you, Elena. So I knew this was going to come up tonight too. One of the things as a psychic, and I'm going to do a psychic etiquette video, but one of the things you really should not be doing is remembering what's going on in your client's life. The most I try to remember is your name and sort of like where you're from, just so I can, have that small talk conversation at the beginning of a reading. But I really try not to remember, what's going on in your life or what the situation is, because then if I bring that over into the next reading, that bias or that pre-notion of what your life is could affect the reading. And so I always want to wipe the slate clean. I always want to come into it being completely open to the possibilities. And one of the things that I see a lot of psychics doing, especially on YouTube, is they'll make friends, especially with people in the chat, and they'll remember who that person is, and then they will just continue that reading. And so it's kind of something for me that it's important that I wipe the slate clean every single time. So sorry, that was a tangent. But Elena, I pulled this card in reverse. There is no movement, and I'm getting that's from the other person. So maybe Elena, you've been trying to push to make things different or make things happen, but your partner is not reciprocating. I'm going to ask for a sign of how you should know when to call it quits, because it seems like you're sort of weighing those two things. Okay, so I got the magical map shifter, and sorry for my nails. I did my nails, but I didn't clean up the sides. It's really bothering me. So the magical map shifter, Elena, this is you. And so this is you manifesting. Your thoughts are manifesting into physical reality. And so how I'm getting that this pertains to this situation is you're being like, all right, I want this relationship, and this is what I want it to look like. And this could be with your current partner. And just put it out there to the universe and be like, this is what it looks like. This is what I want. And then I'm hearing to like, let it sit. And you're going to find that it's either going to match or it's not going to match what you're visualizing. But that's the thing about this card is you can manifest and you can put the intention out there and it can happen. And so if I feel like your guides are kind of wanting you to be a lot more clear on what you want out of that relationship. And, if you're like, oh, I don't know, that's probably why they want you to think about it. And as soon as you think about it, you're either going to notice or you're going to realize, wow, this is way not what I want. And you're either going to decide to move on because you feel like there's so much to fix, or maybe you bring it up to your partner and your partner's just like, I'm not okay with that. And then you're like, all right, well, this is what I want. I'm going to move on because you can't meet me. Or you present this idea, this vision to your partner, and they're like, all right, that I'm clear. That makes sense. Let's figure out how to work towards this. But right now, just the movement, the lack of movement on your partner's side is kind of where I'm getting hung up. So that this is the sign. This is the sign. Yeah, okay, so the sign here is to make that intention, make that magical map of intention, whatever, and then see if it matches. You have your clear map up here. Does this relationship does this relationship match this idea or this goal that I have of a relationship? And if it doesn't, can we meet? Can we meet in the middle, or is it not working? I just want to, your guides are being like, ask her, why is she held up? Like, what is holding you up? Because I think that's the more important question. Like, why are you hesitating? I don't like that card. Yeah. He doesn't listen to my boundaries. That's my concern for you to let go. He's emotional like the partner I desire. I mean, Elena, I feel like you've already moved on and you're more in a mode of like, I don't want to pull off the Band-Aid because that's hard. And so your guys are saying, Elena, you have a golden palace. You have a golden palace of where your relationships exist. You have all of your needs and wants are met. So maybe there's a fear of moving on and, breaking up with him because you are worried you won't have money or you won't have a place to live, or it could be even smaller. You won't have somebody that will love you, or there won't be another relationship that comes along. But your guides, this is giving you such clear confirmation. You have everything you need and want. And this is like in the future. Like there is nothing you are lacking. So don't feel like that lack mentality is going to trip you up. I'm afraid, my ego. I pulled the solitude card again. Elena, I think you just need to sit with yourself. Sit with yourself. Sit with your guys, especially I think doing this Mad Lib here in a second might be helpful. I think like what I'm seeing is like you just sitting, like even with a piece of paper and being like, this is why I'm afraid. This is why I'm afraid. Just get it all out, and then sitting with it and being like, all right, how can I resolve each of these fears? And maybe the what's the word I'm looking for? The solutions aren't as bad or as scary as you think they are. And maybe you just have to take them step by step. I just want to pull, is there anything else for Elena? I feel like I could just keep going with this. You're just stuck in the mud right now. they're telling, oh, and so that movement card is coming through again. And I'm like, that movement card is also not on you, or it is on you. You're not moving as well on it. So Elena, I'm just getting overall advice. Sit down, take some time to sort through all your fears, and then find solutions for each of those fears, and know that, you know, you might have to incrementally tackle them. It doesn't have to be pulling off the Band-Aid. Like I've read for people before, and sometimes it's like they feel like they need to get their things out before they can break up with said person. And not, you know, because they're not safe or anything, but they just don't want it to be awkward. And so like having a game plan ahead of time, I think Elena is like what's gonna make you feel a little bit better. You're welcome. All right, let's do this Mad Lib. I'm so excited, you guys. All right, so if you didn't catch it at the beginning, I sort of asked our guides tonight, what are we doing? And I do that every night to sort of get like a theme, or just I shouldn't say theme, but like, what's the energy of tonight? What do people need? Because every night different people are in here. And so I like to kind of cater it to the energy that's going to show up. And so tonight your guides were like, I want to connect with them. I want to introduce myself. I want to say so much to them. And I'm like, well, I can't do that for everybody. So how do we do this? And they presented a Mad Lib idea. And so again, I've done this before. When I went to the Aspen program for psychic development, that's where I learned how to do everything that I do. And my teacher had created this, and it was like a Mad Lib where she wrote out a script, and there were blanks, and you fill in the blanks, and then you come up with the words intuitively, and then you put them into the script, and then you read the script, and it's a message from your guides. And so I'm not using hers, but I just created it myself. I asked my guides, well, how do I do this? And they were like, well, just sit down and do some automatic writing, and you'll know kind of just the words to highlight and pull out. And so it's kind of messy, but I've got it all here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through a brief meditation so you can kind of get in that zone of connecting with your personal guide. And what you're going to do is, as I'm saying, okay, number X is an adjective. Number 10 is a verb. Number 11 is this. I'm going to give you time in between to intuitively feel it. But I want you to just write down the first thing that comes to mind. So get a piece of paper and pen while you're listening to me yak about this. But you want to write down the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't second guess it. Don't judge it. Don't start to think about, oh, what could they be saying? Oh, what, don't try to string together the words logically and try to make sense out of it. We will get there, I promise. The best thing you can do is stay in that receptive place and not that analytical place. And that's how your psychic ability works. If you're constantly trying to connect to your guides, but you're analyzing the things as they come in, then you're really not using your intuitive brain. You're using your logical brain. And so that's kind of why I'm saying, like, write down what comes to you. Don't judge it. Don't think about what they're trying to say. But then also wipe the slate clean in between. And that's kind of what I was talking about before of, okay, maybe this word just popped up and your next word, you feel like it has to relate or else it's not going to make any sense. Let go of that. And also if it does relate, don't judge it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, this all feels like it's making too much sense together. Maybe this is wrong. Anytime you get into that mode of just being like super paranoid or super analytical about it, you're just you're getting in your own way. So the intention that I would set as you do this is there's no wrong answers. You can always redo this. And so that's why I'm going to leave the time code in the comments below, is that if you want to come back to this in like a month and you don't really remember what it said, you can come back and redo this at any time. And this is something that I do want to put up on my blog. I'm going to put up like a printable version for you guys. So I'm just kind of testing it out with you guys tonight. And I'm going to do a few actually. I know, aren't they fun, Elena? They and I mean, again, full credit to my mentor for doing this. It's such a great idea. It's basically combining automatic writing with I don't know, like a meditation for you guys. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Obviously, try to steer away from like things that like don't make sense. Like whenever I do Mad Libs, like I put like chair or finger, you know, or like the versions where you like are silly and you go like sexual innuendos or, you know, cuss words or something like that. Obviously, if it feels right, do it, because that might be how your guides are trying to communicate with you. But don't do this as like I'm gonna make it say something funny, or else it's just the intention is not there. And again, we'll set that intention when we do this meditation. The intention is going to be, I want to connect to a guide and I really want to meet them. Yes, I think that's all. And yeah, and then don't be surprised if there's positive words or negative words. And then the only other thing, there's like two blanks that I have that I don't really, it's not really an adjective or a noun or any of that. It's more just like a phrase or something you just might hear. And so I'll say like situation or worry or anything. And so just write whatever you hear. And you could pick up this information. You could hear it, you could see it, you could feel it. Once you start to understand your clairs a little bit more, you can hone them and understand kind of how you're receiving it. But don't worry about that too much with this. We just go with your first gut instinct. So does everybody have a piece of paper and pen ready? And after this, we'll go back and do some more reading. So I'm going to give you guys a second to grab those. Does your husband go to you for your psychic abilities to help him with career advice? Yes, actually, that's probably the only time he asks me for advice is career advice. But yeah, but he knows that I can have that bias, and I often do. But I do try to help him as much as possible. And when it comes to reading family and friends, I really try extra hard to remove myself from it. I'm not the best at it sometimes. Again, that bias, but a lot of times I'll pull tarot cards because that kind of removes me from it. Ready? All right, let's do it, you guys. Okay. Everyone close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Let's take 3 deep breaths in. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose again and out through the mouth. Last deep breath in and out through the mouth. What I want you guys to do is just get comfortable in your seat. And I want you to imagine a place in your mind, a place that's comfortable, a place that's familiar. It could be somewhere like home. It could be somewhere that's a fantasy, somewhere that doesn't exist. And in the middle of this room, there is going to be a chair. And I want you guys to find that chair and go ahead and sit in it. And take in your surroundings. Where are you at? There's no right or wrong place. We're just becoming aware of this place. Aware of the chair that we're sitting in. How does it feel? Take another deep breath in. And we want to set the intention that we are only talking to beings of our highest and best good. Imagine quickly just a bubble around you. This bubble is a protective energy. Only beings of your highest and best good can be in this bubble. And this bubble surrounds you in this place. And you might have noticed already, but if not, there's going to be a door that appears in front of you. And imagine what this door looks like. See it. What color is it? How does it feel? And what we're going to do is we're going to set the intention that on the other side of this door is a spirit helper, someone who loves us and cares for us, someone who's going to come in and introduce themselves. Now, when we open this door, we might not see them, we might not hear them, and that's okay. The only intention that we're setting is that we are here to meet them and they are here to meet us. And so what I'm going to have you guys do is imagine that door opening. Maybe you get up and go open it yourself. And if you don't want to be distracted by what this guide looks like, you can just imagine bright white light on the other side. You don't have to see them. You don't have to hear them. It's totally okay. All we have to know is that they are there and they are here to connect with us. So still staying in this zone, we're going to kind of go through these words. So get your pen ready. And anytime you're feeling disconnected, just come back to that chair, come back to that room that you're in or that place, and look at that door. And again, go with the first word that comes to mind, even if it's not exactly an adjective or a noun or any of that. So number 1 is going to be an adjective. Take another deep breath. Number 2, write down anything that comes to mind, a phrase, a situation, a word, anything. First thing. Number 3 is going to be a verb. Number 4 is also a verb. Take another deep breath. Close your eyes and connect to that door. Number 5 is a place. Write down a place. Six, something on your mind. Seven is an adjective. There's no right or wrong answer here. Number 8 is also an adjective. Number 9 is a noun. Ten is also a noun. $11, verb. I'm going to go a little faster here. Number 12 is a worry. A worry you might have, sorry. 13 is a verb. 14 is a sound. A sound you might hear. 15 is a noun. Again, first thing that comes to mind, don't second guess it, just go with it. 16 is a sensation. Physical sensation. Take another deep breath. We're almost done. Again, connect to that door, connect to that white light energy if you're feeling like you're disconnecting a bit. Set the intention. I'm here to communicate with my guide. 17 is a smell, and you might actually smell it. 18 is a taste. Food, something that you could put in your mouth. 19, adjective. 20, noun. 21, verb. 'Go with the first thing you get. 22, name. And our last number, 23, is a noun. Alrighty, take another deep breath. We want to thank this guide. So say, thank you, guide, even if you couldn't see them or feel them or hear them. We're going to imagine that door in front of us closing. We want to again become aware of that bubble that's around us, that's safe and protecting us. And we still want to set the intention that we are only talking to things for our highest and best good. And even now, as you come out of this place and come back to the room you're in, come back to the sights and the sounds and the smells of this room, that you are always protected and you are only talking to beings of your highest and best good. Awesome. So sorry, everyone, if you're just joining us, we were doing a brief meditation and we were doing a Mad Lib to connect to our guides. So if you missed it, you're going to probably have to watch it replay. And we're going to do more readings here in a second, but I will leave a time code for when we started that in the comments below. And even if you guys have done it once, you can come back and do it again. It might be better once you've kind of forgotten what it's about. And so now I'm going to read it back to you. I would say do not try to write out what I'm saying or else you might miss everything. So I would maybe make a note of where this is. We're kind of like 39 minutes in. And if you really want to write it out in full, you can come back to it. But for now, just listen to what I'm saying and look at your answers and sort of input the answers that you get. I'm very curious what you guys get from your guide. So let's see. I'm going to do this as best that I can. Okay. So hello, number one, being. Maybe I'll just say one. So hello, being Shit. I've never done this before. I'm trying to figure it out as I go. Okay, so hello, one being. It's nice to meet you. I want to say 2. Do you know you can hear me if you try? The best way is to 3. That's when we are most connected. If you want to talk, you need only 4. I hope these are making sense. Visualize 5 in your mind. This is where we can commune. I'm here to help you with 6. Do you know you are so 7 and 8? One of your strengths is being 9. You think you are 10, but really you can 11. You are worried about 12. The first step is to 13. This might sound so weird if you're jumping in. If you aren't sure if it's me, I will give you a sign. You might hear 14. You might see 15. You might feel 16. You might smell 17. You might taste 18. Or you might just know it's me. A defining visual feature I have is a 1920. I can't wait to 21 more with you. Love 22. That's their name. Maybe. AKA your spiritual 23. Did that work? I'm so worried that maybe I gave you guys like the wrong things. I might have thought it was an adjective, but maybe it was a noun. I don't know. Hey everyone, if you're just joining, so basically we just did a meditation and we did like an ad lib or a mad lib where I had people write down like noun, verb, whatever, and then I punched it into a script. And the script is basically a direct message from your guides. So if you missed it, you're going to probably have to watch the replay, but you can still do it replay. Was it powerful? I hope so. It just kind of came as a download tonight. And I did some automatic writing. And if you want to learn more about automatic writing, I did a video on that. And so I just kind of made it up. But I'm again going to put these in like a physical printable thing for you guys. I want to get a few up there first. So subscribe to my blog. My blog will be the place that it's going to go up. As well as I'm going to have a lot more printable things for you guys here soon. Excuse me. That was cool. Thanks, Heidi. And I did my own numbers, and I'll have to read them here in a second, or after I'm done. And I'm curious what I got as well. Even though I wrote it, I think I was doing it from a very different place. But even as I was coming up with those names, I was getting distracted by like the sounds in my house. And so sometimes if you feel like you want to redo this, I don't know, try something new and get in that zone, get centered again. Sometimes it takes a while to really I don't have any other word other than like get into that centered zone where you're receiving. So some of these words, might not have made sense, and maybe that's because they weren't totally intuitive. But let's see. Was there anything special I wanted to point out? Does anyone have any cool things that they wanted to share that their guide said? I'm really curious. The biggest things that they were like, we want to tell them how they can like connect with us. We want to let them know about whatever they're worrying about and what they can do. So I kind of like set that up. But I went ahead and added, you might hear this, you might see this, you might feel this, you might smell this, taste this. And that was me purposely going in and adding intuitive hits that were different clairs. So now this guide, you should be able to connect with using all your clairs. And so that was kind of my intention behind that. Yes, protective bubble visualization is hugely important. And in my basic psychic skills course, you guys, basically all of part 1 is me talking about how to protect yourself, how to turn on and off your psychic ability. All of that stuff is very, very important. But I think that's it. I'm so curious what you guys, it's like, share. I want to know if it worked. One time they pulled my legs at night. Oh my goodness. I don't know if mine was intuitive. Running is apparently how I connect with my guides. I could see that. And maybe if you're not a runner, you're like, can I find something else? And you can always ask your guides to give you something else. Like I don't run a whole lot. Is there another way I can connect with you? But maybe if you became a runner or something, maybe you would find that that's like hugely a great way to connect with them. No way, Albert. That is crazy. That is so bizarre, Albert. That was definitely divinely guided. Crazy, crazy. Synchronicity galore, goodness. My very last answer was myself. Lori, I wonder if it's like your higher self that you're connecting to. That is crazy. Yay, Brittany! I'm so happy. That was fun. If any of you want to send me what you have, or even throw it up in the comments below if you're watching replay, I'd love to know what your guide said. Again, I'm going to make this available as like a printable document through my blog. So if you want to be able to, I'm going to make a few. I've already made a few. All of you, or basically sign up for my newsletter and you'll be able to get notified for that. Also, I'm going to be doing a calendar, a printable an intuitive calendar soon. I've already recorded the video for it. It's probably going to come out in like 3 weeks. And that one is basically like a calendar that you can print out and sort of intuitively guess what's about to happen for you over the next month. So keep an eye out for that as well. Awesome. Let's do number 12. I got making the wrong decision, and 13 was heartbreak. What were those ones? You are worried about making the wrong decision. The first step is heartbreak. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Yay. I'm glad. I mean, that sucks for you. I'm sorry, Elena, but I'm glad that my Mad Lib worked. That's my ego there just being happy that I was worried that this wasn't going to work. But wow, that's how you know it's your guides. I mean, even if you're feeling like, were these just my thoughts? Was I just happening to think about this? And again, I like to point to synchronicity. It's like, well, maybe, but are there really such things as coincidences? Maybe you can tell the difference between something that your guide put in your brain versus something that was you, but really the coincidence of you choosing those words and it making sense in this sentence together is huge. So yeah. All right, let's move on. I'm just so excited. At the end, I got guiding hand. Ooh, like for the name Heidi, I got Jeff. I got Jeff. And when I wrote it down, I knew they were messing with me. I was like, all right, guys. All right, let's go back to readings. Thank you guys for testing that out with me. That was so much fun. I can't wait to go read mine. I think that's why I'm taking so long. Oh, 23. 23 was guiding hand. Your spiritual guiding hand. That's awesome. And the reason why I did spiritual blank was because a lot of people use the word spirit guides, and I'm trying to really move away from that word because it just tends to get connotated with whatever somebody has in mind of what a spirit guide is. And really what I want it to be is like a spiritual helper somebody who's unique to you. And for everybody, that looks different. And so some people don't believe in guides, but they might believe in angels. Some people just don't believe in guides, period. And they, just having something, that's why I wanted to have that word. I was curious of what that last word was for everybody, because maybe that's the language your guides want you to use. Instead of spirit guide, they want you to use spiritual helping hand. I love that. And maybe it's just a good descriptor of how you can think of them. Let's see. My guide encompasses me. Jocelyn, I have that too. I get the chills with them. So that's a clairsentience feeling when you have like tingling sensation. Same with goosebumps, also clairsentience. Teeth chatter. I would also say that's clairsentience too. You're probably very empathic, very clairsentient. I record my guide on camera daily. Oh, awesome. Yay, thank you guys. Okay. So let's do some more readings. How long have I been on? All right, let's do like 1 or 2 readings. Maybe 2. So how I do my readings, guys, is I do a guessing game. And I'm going to kind of continue this theme tonight of how can you connect with your guides. So even though you guys will ask the question, whatever your question is, I will also pull an extra card of how you can connect with your guide specifically, because that was just like the thing that came through was, I feel like our guides tonight are like, all right, you know enough, you can connect with me. Like, that's the message. Like, you don't need anything else. Like, we're here, we're ready to talk. Yes, Miriam, watch it in the replay. I'll throw up the time codes so that it's easily findable if anyone wants to come back. All right, so guessing game. If you can think of, I can't do that. It's too easy. If you can think of the vegetable that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. And that's kind of how I do my readings for everyone that's new. Excuse me, I do little guessing games. And the intention there is that whoever needs it the most will get it. And then you're also using your psychic abilities. And for the rest of the night, you guys, if you don't want to play the guessing game and you absolutely want a reading, send me a donation through my Venmo or my PayPal, like even just like $5, and I will make sure that you get a reading, and then you don't have to wait and play all the guessing games and listen to everybody else's reading. Nobody's gotten it yet. I have to remember what it was. Okay. I look around the room that I'm in, and I just like come up with things. Sending it out. I hope it's not too hard. I can give a hint. I hope it's a vegetable. Yeah, it's a vegetable. Goodness. I'll give a hint in a second if nobody gets it. Yeah. Crap in my wine glass. Blech. Okay, it's used. Oh, that's almost too much of a giveaway. Well, that's also a giveaway. It's used in a lot of Mexican dishes. Am I going to test your guys' vegetable knowledge tonight? Like, man, I need to go do my vegetable research. Another hint. It's more often used as a spice. Chili! You got it. Antonia. Antonia, let me know in the chat room what your question is, and while I wait, I will specifically ask, how can Antonia connect with her guides? And we'll do this again. I'll try to keep these individual readings shorter. So Antonia, how can she connect? By having more self-care time, Antonia. So this would be different than just like, well, maybe not. So when I think of self-care time, I think of whatever I need to get away and to recharge. Maybe that's taking a bath. But sometimes for me, that's not always just relaxing physically. It can be going into my bedroom alone, grabbing my notebook and forcing myself to pull some tarot cards. So Antonia, whatever it is to you that feels like self-care, that's where you're going to connect with your guides most. And so that's why I kind of leave it open to whatever people, whatever you define as self-care. Because a lot of people, like to go on a hike or like to exercise, and that's their idea of self-care. And a lot of times in that place, you can connect with your guides. Funny enough, now that I think about it, when I used to dirt bike a lot, I felt, and just like ride around on ATVs and just feel that wind in my hair and my face. Like I felt very connected with my spiritual guides, which is funny because I would just get all sorts of downloads of information and ideas. Antonio, do you have a question besides that? So I'm just going to ask that for everybody that wins the reading is how can you connect? And Antonia, for you, definitely self-care. And for all of you that are watching, like if you feel like some of these messages really resonate with you, like take it. Like don't feel like this is Antonia's message and only hers. Spirit likes to work in the way of getting to as many of us as possible. There's a reason why all of you guys are on at the same time is because maybe your guides pushed you to get on because they all have a message that really needs to come across. And it same works for me. Sometimes the messages are something I need to hear. Jocelyn said she sent me money. I'm just going to double check. Oh, thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn, after Antonia, I'll give you a reading. Feel free to throw up your question now. Antonia, you can ask another question though. I was giving like an extra if you have something else. I guess while I wait, I'll just jump to Jocelyn. How can Jocelyn connect with her guides better? Talisman. This is what I pulled earlier in the group reading, Jocelyn. So I do a group reading at the start of all my lives. So if you missed me, there's still something there for you. Oh, I should have been more patient. Sorry, Antonia. So Jocelyn, for you, it's finding something physical, and I'll come back to that. Antonia wants to know if love is coming. And I will get on my soapbox of asking about the future and yes or no really doesn't leave a whole lot. So I'm going to ask Antonia what you need to manifest love instead of just yes or no, because I assume you want to make it happen. Spirit of place is the first one that comes through, Antonia. And this is very like literal. I love this card because it's like, where are you at physically? Are you around a lot of people? Can you meet somebody? And maybe you're just like constantly at work or something, or maybe the places you visit are negative, or maybe you just don't go out much. So Antonia, your guides really want you to examine where you are because that for some reason is affecting your love life. And it's also going to help your love life. And so maybe you decide to go out and do a group night, or maybe you go hang out with friends and you meet somebody. So paying attention to where you are is going to influence what you attract, is what I'm hearing. And then details. Just want to sit with this card because I pulled it in reverse. This card always throws me off because it has so much writing on it, and I'm always like, well, which one am I supposed to read? Let me just go with the general vibe. I think this is you trying to attract it. And so I think you're trying to maybe put too many specifics around it is like what the energy I'm getting. And maybe it's even the specifics around why you can't have it. I think that's more it. It's like you're putting out all of these things of like, well, I don't have enough money, or I don't have the right clothes, or I need to lose some weight, or I'm not out enough. These are just like all the little things of this pile of books. This is like all the little things of excuses that you are telling yourself of why you can't have that relationship. So I think your guys just want you to get rid of that. Like, get rid of all the stupid little details, and just be open to it. Because I pulled this in reverse. And then the last card I pulled is Coming Apart, but I pulled this in reverse also. And I read my cards reversed, so I just like to take a second, and I first have to remember the upright version. So the reverse version of this would be the opposite of not coming apart. And okay, so I think what I'm getting here is that you are like, these are two versions of you. One of you, like part of you is feeling like, I really want a relationship. And then the other part of you is like, not so much. I'm okay. And there's two sides of you that are kind of at war with each other is what I'm hearing. And it's almost like they need to be brought together because you're sending out two different signals to the universe, Antonia. You're saying you want it, but also I'm okay if I don't have it. And so coming together of, I want to set a goal. I want to, it doesn't need to be, I need to be married by the end of the year. It can be, I want to meet 5 new people. That doesn't even have to be romantic. But just having something a little bit more serious that you can take action on, and manifest it and sort of move in that direction, I think is going to help you kind of bring these two sides together. And to me, it's all about intention and clarity and what are you sending out to the universe. And Antonia, if you're still feeling like I don't quite understand, I would listen to the group reading that I did at the beginning because I'm feeling like that also applies. I talked about like the thoughts that you put out and what you get back in return. And I kind of feel like that's at play here too. And so to answer your question, you want to know if love is coming. I think your guides are like, yeah, absolutely. If that's what you want, are you putting out that message? Sure, we'll help you. Here are the obstacles kind of in your way that are most important, or not even obstacles, things that will help also. And so I think I tend to more read the present versus just like yay or nay. I like to give actionable things to work on, so that you feel like you're leaving not just like with total lack of control, if that makes sense. Thank you, Antonia. I hope that resonated. I hope that helped. Okay, so back to Jocelyn. Jocelyn sent me a donation. If you send me just $5, $10 through my Venmo or my PayPal, I'll make sure that you get a reading tonight. Oh, wow. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. And please subscribe, you guys, if you like. This is not my typical video. My typical videos are more instructional. These are just like my Thursday night readings. So if you want to catch me next time, just come next Thursday. But this is kind of like half of what I do. And then the other half is like uploading videos for you guys on how to connect with your psychic abilities, how to hone those, how to strengthen those, so you guys can do what I do. Oh, and Lori sent one too. Awesome. Thank you. Lori, I'll get to you after Jocelyn. So Jocelyn, coming back to how can you connect with your guides? Jocelyn, I think you need more physical reminders. So maybe that's setting up like a little shrine, and it doesn't have to be like super woo-y, but like I have talismans all over my home. I have a list up on my fridge of abundance. I have pictures of guides. I have crystals. I just have a little bit of everything scattered around the house. And I feel like, Jocelyn, for you, that just might be helpful. And again, it could be shirts. It could even be like a binder that you use for work. It could be a sticker that you put on said binder. I don't want to read it quite yet. I want to finish this. So for whatever reason, Jocelyn, your guides are like, get something physical, get something in your face that reminds you. Ooh, another fun thing that I like to do is I have an affirmation app on my phone, and I can put in affirmations or even just reminders. It doesn't have to be affirmations. Like one of the money intentions that we set is like, I make $1 million, and I see that several times a day. And I'm telling my brain to rewire itself to be like, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Focus. Stupid camera. And what was I saying? What was I saying? you rewire your brain into remembering to think more positively. And I think for whatever reason, Jocelyn, your guides are just like, do a little bit more of that, because maybe trying to remember on your own is just not sticking. And that's in relation to connecting with them. So if you have a guide that you really love, like I have an owl guide, and I went out and bought like a little ceramic owl, and I put him in my kind of workspace so that I'm always remembering, oh, I can use my intuition in my work. And so maybe when you connect with a guide, Jocelyn, or even just a visual reminder of, I connect with my guides often, maybe you print that out. I think for whatever reason, you just need something a little bit more physical. Your question was, I just found out that I lost my mental imagery sometime in my life. You just found out that you lost your mental imagery. Why am I getting it? I feel like somebody told you this, and this is one of those things that somebody told you lost something, and you're like, what? I didn't even know I had that. And then you feel like you lost something, and now you're like, ugh, and then you feel lack. And I'm immediately gut feeling is like, whoever told you this doesn't know what they're talking about. I don't think you lost anything, but I will answer your question. Anyway, whatever it is that you feel like you lost, how can you get it back? And they're telling me that you can use that how to find a lost object video that I just put up for the same thing. You can ask the question, how do I find my mental imagery? And you could go through all those clairs and still do it. You just started doing that. Oh, nice. Another thing I'm hearing, Jocelyn, is maybe do more clairvoyant exercises, but let's see what the cards say. Details. So I'm getting the opposite, Jocelyn. I just pulled this card, but for somebody else, but this card, I'm feeling like for you is get more detailed, get more refined with your thinking. Can you explain, just so I have context of what is this mental imagery that you're describing? I'm thinking of I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of a lot of things, but I'm just curious. And so maybe becoming more detail oriented in life. I'm hearing mindfulness. If you know what mindfulness is, it's just constantly being aware of everything around you, the sights, the smells. It's stopping to pause and look at the mouse and see the colors that it has and the light that's reflecting off of it, and looking at your keyboard, or something like that. But I feel like, Jocelyn, if you feel like you truly are missing this, being more detail oriented in how you run your life, and maybe detail oriented is not, I want to say mindful, being more aware, just noticing all of the little things is what I keep hearing. Stopping to pause, because I feel like once you stop to pause and you're looking at this over here and you're like, wow, that's really beautiful, and you get in the habit of looking at things, and I'm specifically drawn to the word looking. You're train it, the theme tonight is training your brain. It's you're retraining your brain to look and see things a different way. And then I think that's going to affect this mental imagery that you're talking about. And that's kind of what Alana is saying, the being able to imagine pictures in your mind. And that's exactly where I was going, Alana. I was like, is that the thing where you can't see anything? When someone says, imagine yourself at the beach, I close my eyes and no picture in my head. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Non-intuitive advice. My advice, clairvoyance. Focus on clairvoyant exercises. And really, whenever you do an exercise on any of my videos, really force yourself to be like, no, guides, I want clairvoyance. I want clairvoyance. I want clairvoyance. I want clairvoyance. I only want to see things. And then another thing, Jocelyn, I would try shamanic journeying. Again, this is not intuitive. This is me. I've found that shamanic journeying helps my clairvoyant abilities a ton. They might not work the first time. They might not work the second time. But once you get enough practice, I think you start to get the hang of it. And I think this details thing is just like paying attention to all the little things and being more visually aware in this reality will help it kind of in your mind's eye as well. And Jocelyn, I feel like half of it is a mental block. Like you're telling yourself you can't, and in actuality you can. It's just like right now, for whatever reason, it's not working. And so again, it's like that group reading that I did at the beginning. What intentions are you putting out there? Well, somebody told you, or you have this intention that I can't have this mental imagery, and so you're sending it out there, and it is what you say it is. So even if you are not yet seeing that in mental imagery, turn it around and start saying, I can see things in my mind. Because I'm like notorious for having a block because I think I have a block, but there really is no block, if that makes sense. And then the second card that I pulled for you, Jocelyn, was solitude, taking more time to be alone. And I'm just like hearing like seriously like practice. Like I feel like you don't spend nearly enough time in that space of having that mental imagery. Like I feel like you're like, why is it not working? Like that's all the time that you give it. And then the last thing is magic stream, and I pulled this in reverse, and this is about abundance and flow. When everything in your life is just working and flowing and jiving and vibing. And what was the question? How do you get it back? I would say it's focusing on what you do have, focusing on the fact that you're like, no, I do have this. It does work. Like I really, Jocelyn, feel like this is just a mental thing. And I'm going back to that first gut feeling of being like, somebody told you, or even this somebody could be yourself. And I just feel like it's not true. I feel like it's there. You totally have it. I mean, maybe you do have that condition, but before you like self-diagnose, at least try. At least be like, you know what? I'm going to spend more time trying to do it. I'm going to pay more attention. I'm going to be a little bit more mindful, and I'm going to give myself the time to practice. I'm going to practice clairvoyant exercises and meditate. I'm also feeling like, Jocelyn, like hypnosis might also be good for you. Any sort of like guided meditations. Guided meditations are really good for that because you can sort of, they sort of feed you that visualization, and then you can kind of go off with it. Sorry, for everyone that's still waiting, what I'm doing is I'm reading Jocelyn because she sent me a donation, and hopefully Lori's still with us. I'm going to do Lori next because she also sent one. If you send me a donation, I'll make sure you get a reading. Otherwise, we'll go back to the kind of like free guessing games. But hi Sally, welcome back. Let me see if I missed any more of those comments. How do you do shamanic journeying? Check out the video that I made. It's really old now, so it might be a little bit embarrassing, but search on my channel shamanic journeying. I go through the whole thing. There's this cute little book that's like super cheap that you can buy that comes with like a drumming track. And it's super easy. Again, with that stuff though, like you got to do it more than once. You have to, and know that, like, cause when I did these courses in shamanic journeying, I did a whole weekend workshop at this lady's house with like this huge group of people. And literally some of the people, it wasn't until their fourth or fifth journey that they started to visualize things. And then by the end of the weekend, they were probably at a spot that I was, at the start. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just that some people favor certain clairs more. And so Jocelyn, you might not be that clairvoyant just naturally. So you have to train yourself to be more clairvoyant. And that's totally doable because I was originally super clairsentient and I did not like that. I did not like being able to feel things, feel spirits or any of that. And I actively shut that off, and I still shut that off to this day. I trained myself to be more clairvoyant and clairaudient. Anyway, let's get to Lori. Ooh, pretty, Jocelyn. Okay, so I pulled all those cards, right? Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thanks for the donation. I hope that makes sense. I mean, okay, so Jocelyn, you're saying you can see colors and you see purple. I mean, that's the beginning of it. I think you're just not very practiced and you're like, oh, I can't do it. But I think just practice more, especially anything on my YouTube channel where I talk about doing clair exercises and focusing on clairvoyance. I would just actively try to focus on that clair to strengthen it. Okay. So Lori, and I only know Lori, this is Mr. Lek Gigi. That's Lori. Let's see. So Lori, I'm asking first really quick, because I'm doing this for everybody, how you can connect to your guides better. You specifically and your guide specifically. Ooh, education. So Lori, I'm immediately just feeling like if you're wanting to connect with your guides a little bit more, it's educating yourself on how, like, what are the different techniques? What are the different guides is what I'm hearing. What works for me? Just doing some research. Maybe that's reading some books, listening to some podcasts, whatever it is, perusing my channel. But I feel like for you, Lori, it's more a matter of education that might be in your way. You're welcome, Jocelyn. But your question is, Reggie is showing interest in me. He came over from brunch on Sunday. Is that the same Reggie? I know I said I shouldn't remember, but I do remember. Okay. Wipe the slate clean, doesn't matter. He's showing interest in me. He came over for brunch on Sunday. Will we vibe? Is he the one? I need to ignore it. I've given Lori a reading before, and so I have to really not remember any of it. I have to come at it completely new because things can change between now and then. Things can be completely different. The energy, months ago, it could be not the same at all. The intentions that people had back then could not be the same that they are now. He's a new person. Well, glad you said that because now I can really forget it. I definitely feel the yes in will we vibe. I'm immediately getting that there's like a little bit of hesitation for him to jump into something romantic right away because he would rather. I pulled the gentle gardener card. I think he's somebody more who's wanting to like take it slow and like nurture that relationship. And so maybe he's a little worried you're going to jump into it too fast. And Lori, I don't feel like you're that type at all. I just feel like it's him being like, I don't know, past stuff that he's worried about. And it's nothing to do with you. It's all him. I'm just going with gut feelings first before I pull cards. Because I feel like, and the point of me saying that was, I feel like you're going to vibe. I feel like you're going to get impatient because it's going to feel like he's not moving as fast as you'd like. And I'm already seeing you second guess yourself. Well, maybe he doesn't like me, but I'm still getting to persevere just because he's going to take a little bit longer than you are to see that potential in the relationship. As far as is he the one? Whoa, that card just fell out. I got ghost lands. And this card, I'm trying to remember. This card is like, I get crickets, like I hear crickets. It's like, ooh. And that's specifically answering that is he the one? Because I feel like there's multiple ones for you, Lori. I feel like there's also no perfect one also is what this is. I think that's why I'm getting this card is like there's never going to be that perfect relationship out of the gate. So what you're looking for almost doesn't exist. It's a ghost land. But that doesn't mean that he's not that relationship for you. I think the message there more is to know that it's not going to be perfect and know that you might have to nurture it and shape it into what you want to be. You're going to have to tell him, hey, I don't like when you do this. And he's going to be like, hey, I don't like when you do that. And you're going to have to like change for each other. But let me pull some cards specifically of like, what do you guys, I'm going to ask, what do you need to know about the relationship? And when I ask that, I kind of sometimes I pull obstacles, sometimes I pull good things that are going to help you. Okay, they wanted me to pull this as the core. So Lori, I think you've been doing a lot of really good inner work because I pulled the rescue card in reverse. And so normally the rescue card is like, you have to be rescued. You need the prince in shining armor to save you. And you guys are not coming at this relationship for those negative reasons. Like a lot of people find each other because they need to rescue themselves and they don't know how, and they look for somebody else to do that. And so that's why I said I feel like you've been doing a lot of inner work, Lori. So you're not coming at it from a place of desperation or I need somebody to fill this hole. Like it feels like you guys are both coming to it with really good intentions. Sally, I've raised not enough, but we're getting there. I should be thankful. Even tonight, I've raised maybe almost a full card. It cost me $25 per card to make. I'm making my own tarot deck with you guys, by the way. And so all of your donations go to basically me funding the artwork for these. I've gotten 8 out of 52 cards done. And so, oh, I love this card. So, Lori, this card is follow the leader, and I'm getting to let him lead the way, which might be hard because you might be like, oh, I want to make it happen. But let him take the lead, let him set the pace is what I'm hearing. Because it will, one, not only make him comfortable, but it also make you more patient, and it will make you not jump ahead and, do something rash. Again, I don't feel like you're that way, but and then the last card is, and I'm going to read this the opposite way. So I pulled this in reverse, and I'm really feeling like this is you two coming together. So this card is actually coming apart, but I'm going to read it reversed, which I'm feeling like you need to do the opposite. It's not like you guys need space from each other. You guys need more time together. So the more time you get together, the more you can manifest that relationship. Again, though, take his lead. Don't push too much. But know that you guys are coming. I kind of pulled this as like the core card, like what's bringing you guys together. And it's that you're not trying to rescue each other. And that's always a really good place to be. Especially when you're coming out of a relationship and you feel like you need to be in a relationship until you look for the wrong things. I'm just going to ask if there's anything else that Lori needs to know. And when people donate, I spend just a little bit more time on them. So everyone else that's watching, magic prayer. Lori, this is all about intention. It's praying for what you want, praying for that relationship that you want, praying for him. Because the fact that you said my intuition says yes, I'm just like, absolutely. Like, I don't know what that intention or that intuition is, but I feel like you're right there. And I feel like, praying to the universe that this is the right relationship for you and that you do deserve it is only going to help manifest it more. So overall, I feel really good about this, Lori. I'm not going to say for sure on is he the one, because I felt like that card was just like, he's not the one in the way you hope it to be, but that doesn't mean he can't be a one. I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Lori. So good to see you. And for those of you who are just joining, so I do sort of like a fun little guessing game for my readings. And then if somebody donates, I'll spend a little bit more time on giving them a reading. Just let me know in the comments, because sometimes I don't always check my phone. Excuse me. But earlier tonight, we did a Mad Lib with our guides. So if you missed that, you're going to have to watch it on replay. And I think, you guys can even rewind it right now. But basically, it's a personalized message from your guide. And you can watch that replayed and still do it. You can even come back to it multiple times. So if you leave tonight without a reading and you really feel like you wanted something, definitely do that Mad Lib, because we just walked everyone through like a meditation, and then I had you like write out a bunch of words, and then I read the script, and you can sort of insert that those words into that script, and it's like a message from your guides. So it was a fun idea that I had right before I started. I'm already losing my voice. Can you tell? You're welcome, Lori. And sorry guys, when people just throw up random questions, I don't mean to skip you. It's just I'm not doing speed readings tonight, so I'm not giving everyone a reading. I do a fun little guessing game. So let's do one more. Let's do one more guessing game. So whoever can guess the thing that I'm thinking of will get the reading. And again, if you don't want to wait, send that donation. I am thinking of I've done that one before. What's another? I am thinking of an animal. If you can think of the animal that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. Clock. I don't think that's an animal. Oh, my phone's buzzing. I'm just making sure that wasn't a donation. It is a donation for Sally. Thank you, Sally. You're the best. Sally, after this, I'll give you a reading. Sorry. Nobody's gotten it yet. And I will give out a hint if... Turkey! I love your name. You feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? I like vaguely remember that. I kept thinking mushrooms. Not my day. This is an animal that you will... Oh, you got it. You feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. You got it. It was zebra. I probably was feeling like you were about to get it, which is why I was like drawn to your name. So you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Let me know in the comments what question you have, and I will answer. Oh my gosh, yes! And part of tonight's readings was I was going to give an extra answer to a question that I'm asking, which is, how can you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs, connect to his or her guides better? And so I'm just gonna ask that while I wait. So you're basically getting to commitment. So you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Your guides, if you're wanting to connect more to your guides, they're telling you got to be committed to doing it. And I'm hearing like putting in the time to connect to them and like doing it. And sometimes that's the first step for a lot of us, is like, we're just like, oh, I'm not interested. I don't know. And so maybe you're just not putting in the consistent time to connect with that higher source. And so, think of this like a commitment of going to like the gym. You want to lose weight, and so you have to go on a regular basis. And so I think what they're trying to say here is that maybe you're a beginner, maybe you're not, but maybe there's a lot that they want to show you and teach you. And it's just going to require more than one sitting to do all of that. And so that's kind of like your biggest obstacle. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Okay, so after this, we're going to have Sally and then Janelle. Let's see. What do my spirit guides have to tell me? Okay. Pulling some cards. What do they have? I'm intuitive and manifester, but I feel like I know more. Yeah, and so sometimes I just feel like practice. Practice is, I think that's what I was coming across for me. It's the commitment to, and I mean, even I have this. A lot of times I get into the mode of like, I just teach and teach and teach, and I forget to meet with my own guides about my own problems. And it's like sometimes I'm like, I haven't even talked to my guides in I don't know how long. I'm talking to everybody else's guides or everybody else's pets. And so that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting, is just like it's putting in the time and saying, I deserve to talk to them too. What do they want you to know most right now? They want you to know that card and this card and this card. This card is just coming up so often tonight. Talisman. I'm going to come back to it. Deep freeze. Okay. So right now, I'm reading You Feeling It Now, Mr. Krabs. I'm feeling like you're just in a deep freeze. This is just a time where things just aren't moving. Things are just kind of there. It's like this energy of hibernation. Things aren't moving forward, but it's like you're just waiting. I'm getting that that's a good thing. That's an okay thing. And maybe you're just feeling like, oh, why aren't things moving? Maybe I need to be doing something. But it's kind of like, no. It's saying, no, that's not, you're good. It's okay to take a nap. And I think this is about something specific. Maybe something that you're stalling on. Maybe something that's been in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I'm stalling on it, or I'm waiting. And I think a lot of the issue there is that you don't have the encouragement that you need. So this was reversed. And I think you need encouragement. And this could be from yourself or from others. And you can ask people to give you encouragement. This doesn't have to be solely from you. Excuse me. I'm currently trying to get a place to live. I said giraffe earlier. Oh my gosh. You did. That's probably that giraffe energy coming in. I would say that might be a guide for you, of a spirit or an animal spirit guide. And maybe you can always remember, oh, when I see a giraffe, that's that I need motivation. I need encouragement. And so maybe it's your guides trying to be like, hey, go find this. And again, talisman. And this is the thing that I pulled at the beginning with the group reading. Everyone needs a talisman tonight. This is something physical to remind you to keep these things in mind, to remind you that, it's okay for things to not be working right now, but you'll get there. And what you need is a little bit of encouragement. Honestly, I would say your talisman is a giraffe. Maybe print out a picture of a giraffe. Or if you don't connect with that image, that's okay. You could just write out a phrase or something. It's a visual reminder that you're going to get there and it's okay. But yeah, I want to move forward to the people that donated. Thank you, Mr. Krabs. I'm just going to call you that. All right, who's next? Sally. Sally, let me know what question you have. I'm just double checking. Sally, and then Janelle. After Janelle. Yes. Janelle, Sally got to you, before you, sorry. So I'll get to you after her, but feel free to get your question ready. So Sally, I'm going to ask how you can connect with your spirit or your spirit guides. That's kind of like the theme of tonight. How can Sally specifically connect? Oh, I'm losing my voice. I talked for so long. Okay, Sally, they want 2 cards for you. Hang on. I know I shouldn't be looking at the booklet, but this is one card that always throws me off. I always read it wrong. Oh no, I know what this means. Okay. So Sally, I hope you're still with me. If not, she can hopefully catch it replay. But how you can connect with your guide, Sally, this is one ring circus. And sometimes when we hear like a one ring circus or one ring band, we think of something negative, but this is actually a positive in your case, Sally. And this is your guide saying you don't need anybody but you to connect with your guides. You can do it all yourself. You have all the resources you need. And I'm also hearing like you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. Like connecting to your guide, Sally, should be fun. Like it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun. I think we forget that sometimes. It's like when I first started doing all of this, I signed up for all the classes. That sounded fun. But now, that I've got all these tools under my belt, I feel like, oh, I have to go and I have to sit and I have to write to connect to my guides. And it's like, no, I don't have to do that. I could go shamanic journey. That's way more fun for me. Sally says, give it to me straight. All right. And then I also pulled the spark card. This is the same question. How can you connect to your guides more? And I like this card because it's like, I always associate it with doing things that you're passionate about. And I think this kind of goes in line with this card of like when you're in the zone of doing something you love. And I always use the example like painting or doing music. sometimes you really can get in that zone and get connected. And it's not like you're simultaneously like playing the guitar and like talking to your guides, but just like maybe you're just like playing the guitar and all of a sudden these thoughts come in and you're like, oh, that thing that I've been stressing out, oh, maybe this is like a different way I could handle it. And then you're not really thinking about it. And then you get out of it and you're like, oh, I was probably just totally getting a download from my guides. And so it might not be specifically that, but I think your guides want you to pay attention to those moments where you're really just doing something that you're in that zone and you're passionate about. I'm thinking about the movie Soul. I don't know if you guys watched that, but they had such a fun way of visualizing it. It's like when you're in the zone, you go to this other world, and they had the guy that did the like street sign. He was like twirling it, and that's where he got in the zone. And he was like super connected. It was really funny. Did anybody else watch that? You're too funny. Sorry, but I'm going to take your course, so I don't need you. No, you don't. You don't need me, but obviously I will be here to help. Okay, so give it to you straight. Sally's guides. What does she need to know right now? I feel like both that circus card and the spark card, they're just like lighter energies, and I'm getting just like this overwhelming message of like, this can be fun. This does not have to be stressful. Like connecting to your intuition, I mean, just even I'm hearing like your spiritual journey overall. A lot of times we feel like the only way we can progress spiritually is if we go through like these crazy hardships and like huge mountains. And I think that's something that organized religion has taught us, is that the only way to move forward is through struggle or through loss or strife. Yeah, but there's nobody out there saying, you know, it can be easy. Like you can connect to your guides, you can connect to these messages, you can get guidance, and it can be easy. You know what I mean? And so I think I just pulled that spark card again, Sally. I think for you, Sally, that message is not only for you, but for everyone else. But I'm just getting this, like, take it more serious, or take it less seriously, like be more lighthearted about it. But let me see card wise, like, I'm also hearing, Sally, like, plan a vacation. You need it. So I pulled this card, and this is rock bottom, and this always scares people, but I love this card. I see it as such a positive thing. So think about when you're at rock bottom, you are at the worst it could possibly be, and there's nowhere to go but up. And so, Sally, I don't feel like there's anything hugely negative going on in your life, but maybe you're just like, maybe I'm getting this like discontentness, like, what's next? I'm bored, maybe is sort of where you're at. And this rock bottom is like, well, know that, you know, the sky's the limit. You can go up from here. You know, you're in such a good spot. You're really not going to go backwards. Like maybe this is about something specifically like finances or like home life, like whatever it is you're feeling drawn to, like, just know that it can't get worse. So you might as well set goals and milestones for the future. I get obvious downloads I can hear and see, but for some reason I can't take it with me. Does that make sense? Take it with you where? I don't know if that was in reference to something I said. Yeah, no, I don't understand. Sorry. So I think I'm just getting like discontentedness with this card, and I think your guides just want you to know that like you could stay there and be unhappy, or you could be worried that it's going to get worse, but just know that it's not, and know that you can set goals and things to like climb, and you'll definitely get there, which kind of makes sense with this next card, which is, again, I pulled this earlier, but this is the magical map shifter. And this card, I hate the artwork so much. It's so dumb, but I pull this so much with this deck. And I think why people are drawn to this deck is it's all about manifesting. How do I create what I want? And my love life. and so, and like I read this card before for somebody else with love life. It's like, how can you attract what you want? Sorry, I'm reading it with the context of your love life now. And so I think they're wanting you to know, because I pulled this in reverse, they're wanting you to know that any of your thoughts can manifest into physical reality. So like he's blindfolded right now, so he can't see. But these are his intentions. This is what he wants. And he's actually manifested it physically. They're floating around him. And so your guides want you to know this is you. You can have that. And so if you're feeling like this is about your love life, you can manifest, you can have whatever you want. You just have to put it out there, and you have to trust that you're not going to go backwards and that you're going to get those. And you're maybe like, well, how do I know? You're going to get a lot of outside help with this. This card is like unexpected visitors. I'm hearing that this is twofold for you, Sally. One is that it's partly your guides coming in to help you. And two, this is like actual people that are going to come in to maybe influence your love life. So maybe it's not the actual person that you're going to be with, but maybe it's like a new friend that introduces you to somebody else or something. I said my love life for the rock bottom card. Yeah. And so if you feel like these apply to other areas, you know, maybe I shouldn't have been reading them all for your love life, but I think kind of the message is there's nowhere to go but up. So if you have that in the back of your mind, just focus on forward movement and know that you can have anything you want. You can manifest anything that you want. And if you're like, how do I know? How do I know what the signs are? You know, how do I know if I'm manifesting it? There's something about the people around you right now that are going to really help you. And I want to see if there's anything else with this card. There's also like a frog and a rabbit on here that I'm really like attracted to. Maybe there's something there as guides. There's also like, what are those, grapes? I just feel like this is a very magical place. I don't know, Sally, if you did that the Mad Lib with us, but I feel like this is your place that we did in that Mad Lib of where you can connect to your guides. And I feel like they just have so much more to give you. Like, I feel like this card is more that guides. It's like they've got this door and they have so much they want to show you and give to you and point you in the direction. And they're just like so excited to show you. They just want you to come and explore with them. And I think they're going to help you manifest these things and help you move forward. I think it's all like fun energy. Fun. So I'd figure out, Sally, one of your favorite ways to connect with them for sure. I hope that helps. Thank you, Sally. Thank you for giving me a donation. Janelle, I know you were next. Janelle, let me know what your question was. I'm just going to make sure no one else has donated. So I don't miss anybody. Okay. Ooh, nice, Sally. Because I'm fun. I like your energy, Sally. I feel like we would get along in real life. You're welcome. Thank you for the donation. Hey, everyone. If you're joining me, I'm doing a reading for Janelle because she sent a donation. But definitely rewatch the replay because I did a group reading at the beginning for everyone. And then we did a Mad Lib, sort of like meditation. And that is something that you can get personalized messages from your guides. And I'm going to put a time code in the comments so that you can find exactly where it is and come back to it multiple times. How do you make a donation? In the description, I have a link to my PayPal, and then I have my Venmo handle, which is like at Lauryn GK, but it's like Lauryn with a Y. I'll just like pick that really quick, but I don't have the PayPal memorized. And as soon as I get monetized, I'll be able to use Super Chat, so you guys will be able to donate like right in here, and it won't be so confusing. But I'm still not monetized yet. So that is a future thing. What do spirit guides want you to know? Oh, and how to connect with them. So spirit guides. Regarding your love life. Okay, well, that one popped out. Hang on. That one popped out. Spirit guides wanting to know regarding your love life. That one and that one. They want you to know too many things. Okay. So right now there's no movement. I pulled this in reverse. There's no movement in your love life, and you're probably like, yeah, duh. And this I'm getting is like a solution. Solitude, spending some time alone. And I'm just gonna see if there's anything more specific with this. I'm getting for you with this, it's about spending time alone, like not being in a relationship. It's not just like going off to like meditate or something. It's like I feel like you're on this island and you're just taking some time not being in a relationship. And I feel like your frustration, you're like, but I've already been doing that for so long. And maybe I'm wrong, but what is it that you're missing? There's something that's just like you're not quite getting because you're not fully getting into that hermit mode is like the word I'm hearing. And they're saying that they want you to follow them, your guides. They want you to pay attention to them. They have the path. This is like literally the path that they're trying to show you, but you're just kind of like distracted, or you're like, I don't know, or I'm going to try my own way. And I feel like they're just like, we're trying to grab you and turn you back this direction, and you just keep like walking off like a toddler the other direction. And so I think they want you to know that they have a plan and they have a way they want to show you if you can just release that control. But they also want you to know, again, this card, that you can manifest this relationship, this love life. And so I'm hearing like it's meeting them halfway. So like you put out your intention, this is the relationship I want. And then you're also letting go and being like, all right, but I know that you guys see it a little bit better than I, and you probably have a better idea of how it's supposed to happen. And so it's this fine balance of being clear on what you want, but also not too clear, and letting them sort of take the lead, and you're paying attention to those signs. And then what happens is you kind of, once you're clear about what you want, you sort of meet them halfway. And what I mean by that, it's a term that I pulled from Denise Duffield Thomas's book, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And it's about money and finances, but it really applies to anything that you want to manifest. And it's like, first, you got to be clear. And then second, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to do something out of your comfort zone to tell your guides, I'm serious. For example, like right now, I really am trying to manifest a new home. And one of the things that I'm doing that's making me uncomfortable, but is like that step towards telling the universe I'm serious, is that I am putting a bunch of money into fixing up our home, because we're not going to sell our home. We're going to rent it out. And so when we rent it out, there's some things that need to be cleaned up. Like our cats like completely destroyed our carpet stairs. And so I'm actively being like, all right, universe, I'm going to have renters soon. So I've got to spend the money to fix these stairs. And that's uncomfortable for me because that's money that technically I could be using elsewhere. Anyway, and so I think this is kind of like the vibe that I'm getting for you, Janelle. It's like, be clear on what you want, and then take that step into that uncomfortable zone. Maybe for you, that's like getting out and like doing like a networking event or something like that, or messaging somebody that you're like into. It's taking that uncomfortableness, but then also paying attention to the signs. And what I'm feeling like there for you, Janelle, is just like, when somebody's giving you a sign of like not interested, it's not pursuing it. Or if it's like your guide's pointing you into the direction of somebody and you're like, that's not who I would typically go for, trusting it anyway. And that doesn't mean, they're telling me, that doesn't mean you can't have what you want. It's just the how is maybe not how you're imagining it. And you're so stuck on how it's supposed to happen that really you're not allowing it to happen any other way, because you're like, oh, well, we have to meet under a bridge in moonlight and there has to be a duck swimming by or something like that. I don't know. Apparently that's romantic to me. But I think it's when we focus so much on how, we are sending out that clear intention to the universe. Like, it's got to be a duck. It's got to be nighttime. It's got to be this. And so our guides are trying to be like, oh, okay, we're trying, but it's hard to get all these things in place. But maybe over here they had something even easier, something even better that would have worked. I hope that makes sense. I mean, it's not as specific and like, it's not exactly that way, but I'm trying to describe the energy of how manifesting works. I hope that makes sense. Hello, Joyce. Thank you, Emmy. My automatic writing video is my most popular video right now. So I'm trying, if you like that video, I'm trying to do lots of exercises. I just released a video on how to find a lost object. I'm going to do a video on how to write an intuitive calendar. Got all sorts of fun things coming your way. Let's see. Janelle, did I do how you can connect with your guides better? I don't think I did. Let me just pull that one card. So Janelle donated. Sorry, guys. I'm just wrapping up her reading. Sally, you went out and bought it, didn't you? And you're the one that got the job. I remember now. Sometimes it's hard to remember all of you. Oh, geez. Thank you, Elena. Yeah, hang on one second. Let me finish Janelle. So Janelle, how can you connect to your guides better? Interesting. So I got stuck in the mud and I just wanted to check. But Janelle, there's something about you getting stuck that's always a good place for you to connect to them. Because maybe you're so stuck that you're finally going to like listen is what I'm hearing. And so don't feel like that has to always be the case. Like you always have to be stuck to connect with them, because you can definitely connect to them else hows. I'm losing it now. But for whatever reason, Janelle, I'm feeling like it's the energy of like you're throwing your hands up in the air and you're like, I give up. And there's something about that energy that you're going to just be able to connect to them better and trust them and trust the messages that you're getting, because you're releasing that control. I feel stuck now. And I think it's a perfect time to connect with them. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you for the donation. Elena, thank you so much. Okay, so Elena donated. Can you tell me if a new love interest is coming in? I'm introverted, so I don't talk to people much. How can I connect with spirit guides? Is it actually running? Let's find out. I need to take a drink of water. I'm losing my voice. By the way, you guys, Shadow Bayou Tarot, and I can never say the end of it. I'm sorry, Joyce. Little lag. Yep, she says it so fast, and I can't ever say it. I did a what did I do? I did a video on her live her live channel. She does tarot readings. So if you guys also want to check out her for tarot readings, definitely check her out. She was actually on my channel. We did a video together on hoodoo voodoo stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, check that out. I kind of asked her a bunch of questions. I didn't know anything about it, and I wanted to learn more about it. One of these times I'm gonna memorize it, and I think I'm gonna be on her channel soon too. We haven't set a date yet, so if you follow her, you might be able to catch me over there. Thank you, Joyce. Let's see. Okay, so Elena, don't let me forget to ask how you can. Or wait, no, did I read you before? How you can connect to your guides? Am I crazy? I'm like, once I get into this intuitive mode, like I can't describe it other than like I feel like my awareness is up here in this chakra, and I'm like not aware of time or anything else going on. The longer I go, the harder it gets to remember logical things. Okay. New love interest is coming in. I'm like, they're showing me a visualization of how I should pull these cards. Okay. So this person, and then past, present, lesson. I'm gonna start there. Okay. Yes, Joyce, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. I just saw 3 white circle cycles when I closed my eyes. This group is magical. What do you think it means, Jocelyn? Circles could mean totally different things to totally different people. Okay. Okay, so Elena, first card, and so because I've already read you tonight, I'm continuing because I feel like this old relationship needs to there needs to be some closure there. There's a reason why you're hanging on to it. So I'm starting with the past and then moving into this next relationship. So this past relationship, you need to have this sad embrace. It's this embrace of what was, the things that went well, but also like the sadness of it being lost, which is so hard because it's like when you're relieving a relationship, you're like, there's so many things that are amazing about it, and it's so hard to let those go. But it's also like this card is about it's about approaching those emotions, and it's about not hiding from them, and knowing that feeling those sad feelings can sometimes be a relief. Excuse me. And sometimes those can be helpful. And so that's what's needed right now of this past relationship. And you're stuck in the mud. And you're not moving forward on it because you're afraid of, letting go and all the consequences that are going to be around it. Normally I'm not so firm about this, but I think Elena has been on here a few times and we've sort of read this, and I think Elena has tried to move forward and make things better, which is why I'm kind of moving forward on next steps. Usually I'm not so definitive, like you should break up with this person, but because I know the history of it, that's why I'm kind of like, I assume Elena has tried to do all of these things and they're not working. And this is that same, I don't know if I pulled this, but it's like the similar energy of like getting all the details in check. It's like in your mind, figuring out how you're going to approach it, how you're going to say it. Maybe all of these things will be more reassuring to you. It's like, how are you going to tell your parents that you're not in that relationship anymore? Or how are you going to move your things out? Something like that. Something about getting all the details right is going to be just, I don't know, I think more reassuring for you, Elena. And then this is the lesson. This is the lesson that you've learned from this relationship, because I never view relationships as like just being like wrong or totally worthless in your life. There's something that you've learned from this relationship that you're going to pull into the next one. And I think that's important before we move forward, is understanding what that lesson was. And it was about listening. And I don't think you were listened to, and I don't think you listened to yourself, Elena. And that's the kind of like core of how you might look back on this relationship. You're going to be like, there was no listening. I said I wanted these things and he didn't listen. And I said I wanted these things and I didn't listen to myself, and I didn't demand those things. And so moving into this next relationship, you want to have this memory. Like, I feel like there should be a card for every past relationship that didn't go well. And even if, for those of us who have only ever really been in one relationship, you can have these huge, significant like moments where you guys worked through something huge and you remembered, this is something about us that we need to remember. Like, for example, like my husband and I used to be so stubborn, and we still are pretty stubborn, but we've learned really how to work around that and work with each other on that. But I feel like that would be one of my cards with him, is that stubbornness. It doesn't always mean you have to break up. Anyway, so the listening part, you're not listening to yourself and what you need, and you're also not demanding that of the other person. Thank you, Emmy. I'll get to you after Elena. I keep being like, I'm going to get off. And then you guys are like, no, take my money. I was constantly not listened to. Talk about my boundaries. And he didn't know. There you go. And so, Elena, I think your guys are just like, this is like when you write the universe your new recipe. No. what's it, like an order. You have an order, you're writing an order out. What's my order? Like you're ordering Uber boyfriend. You're ordering Uber boyfriend. What do you want to eat? And you want on your menu, you want listening. I'm going crazy. And so this is something that you've learned from the past. You've learned that you've needed it. And what's crazy sometimes is people will get out of these relationships and they won't learn this and they won't remember this. And they will get stuck on this and they will just attract that non-listening over and over and over again. And they're like, why isn't my relationship any better? Why do I keep attracting the same people? And it's because in a way you're acknowledging that this is all I deserve. And what was I saying? And so yeah, this is kind of one of the things that you want. And I don't like that card. I think sometimes I pull cards before I've even asked a question. And so when I say I don't like a card, I put it back because I realize I just have this intuitive feeling that it's not answering the question. So I'm just going to ask for Elena what else she might have learned from this past relationship. And I think, Elena, this doesn't mean, I feel like there's several things you've learned. And so it's sitting down and continuing this list for yourself. Because I think another thing you've learned is storm fields. And storm fields are for you, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like this card is like those moments in life where things are just like chaotic. You're in the middle of a storm. Everything seems crazy. It feels just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. But then the storm passes and it's okay. And so maybe there's something going on with this relationship. Maybe you guys had like a lot of fights, or maybe it was, I'm just going to use fighting as an example. Maybe you had like a lot of fights and maybe there was just like a lot of intensity and chaos and you felt like, oh my God, and you just like worked up your anxiety. This is what I'm feeling like it is. And I could be wrong, but it's like you worked up that anxiety and then it was like it passed and you're like, wow, I overreacted a lot. Or, oh, my anxiety was just like ridiculous. That was unnecessary. Maybe it's the other person doing this, but the energy that this card is talking about is just like that chaos and that craziness and just feeling like everything's gonna like explode, but then like give it a few hours and it's fine. And so maybe that's something else you learned with this relationship. He has a temper. Oh, and so maybe that's something you want to avoid. You want to avoid somebody with such stormy fields. And then the last card, unexpected visitors. I'm just tuning into this. I feel like you might be more drawn to what this card means. Because I don't feel like this is like people. Maybe this is people. I'm like, first gut feeling was maybe it's people coming into your life that maybe gave you opinions or help or non-help about your relationship. But I'm also feeling like it's your guides, maybe. I'm not sure. I might come back to it. So, and I'm spending a little bit more time with Elena, guys, because she donated. So that's what's happening. Sorry. What was the question? So we're getting to, can you tell me if a new love interest is coming in? So I think my long answer is work through all of this, completely close off that last relationship, understand the lessons and the things that you want to place a new order for. And then, yes, you can attract a new relationship. But really, the biggest things that I see get in people's way is when they're still focused on that past relationship and when they haven't learned the lessons from it. And then when they haven't placed a new order, I'm going to start using that. I really love that. And when your order is not clear, like you're like, I maybe want a pizza. No, maybe I want French fries. Actually, I don't know. Actually, you don't need to deliver anything. That's like how it is with our guides. We just have to be clear. So I'm going to ask, just to kind of wrap this up, I feel like, Elena, what you should do next is ask, once you've gotten to this point, okay, how can I attract a new relationship after that? And the reason why I don't want to dive too deep into that is it could change so much between now and then, especially with the stuff that you have to kind of clean up after this. but I'll just kind of ask for one card of, okay, what would that next step be? And I think it's going to be just working through literally the day by day. It's getting through day by day, and you're going to have days where it's rough and you're going to have days where it's good, but this is your sole concern, is just getting through it and breathing and knowing that even if you have a rough day, there's good days to come. I feel like there's more to this story. I'm just kind of stopping it there. Sorry. But I think that's what's immediately most needed. Sorry, I'm going to catch up on these comments. Thank you, Emmy. I will check here in a second. You want to jump on the chance. Awesome. Silly rabbit. Everyone's donating. This is awesome, but also I'm tired. This is me not having good boundaries. Okay, so what I'm going to do after Silly Rabbit, you guys, is I'm going to probably cut it off at donations. So if you do donate, I might just have to catch you guys next Thursday. But at some point, I got to get off. But thank you. I super appreciate it. The empath in me feels bad that we are keeping you up. No worries. That's my problem, Silly Rabbit. Don't feel bad. I love being here and I love doing this. It's more just like that nagging feeling in the back of my head of like my baby wakes up at 7 a.m. every morning, and the longer I wait to go to bed, the less sleep I have. But I'm fine. My bedtime is still like an hour away, so we're good. Circles. I love typos. I was so excited to see the white circles in my mind that I just realized I think my guy should be a color or shape that would remind me of him. Ooh, interesting. That's cool. Like changing my question. Okay, so I'll come back, but after Emmy, his brother is more emotionally nurturing, which is what made me realize that's what I wanted in the relationship. Nice. Sometimes that's why those people come into our lives, is we need to understand something about ourselves, and sometimes they bring that to light. And I mean, the biggest thing is we move on from it. There's some people that I read for where I can tell it's just like they're repeating the same relationship and the same problems over and over. And no matter how clear I make it, they're just like, oh, I'm stuck with this, you know? Thank you, Elena. Thank you so much. Thank you guys all for being here tonight. Okay, so Emmy, let me just make sure. Emily. Awesome. So I'll do Emily and then Silly Rabbit. Silly Rabbit, what should I be looking for? What's your name? Kor? Kor, maybe? Thank you guys so much. And just know all of your donations I'm putting towards building my tarot deck. And I'm going to release that when I get to like a certain amount funded. I'm going to like show you guys the artwork and then show you guys what it's about. I'm really excited. Yes, Corey. Awesome. That's a really fun way to spell Corey. Okay, so Emmy wants to know if your guides have anything to say about my general life path / career. I have a lot of doubts about what I'm doing now. Okay. I feel like you have a lot of doubts because you have a lot of options. And I'm also going to still pull the how can you connect with your guides better. So this is kind of the theme of the night, and I'm asking this question for everybody just as like a little extra fun thing. So, Emmy, how can you connect with your guides better? Unexpected visitors. I feel like your guides actually are popping up to you a lot, Emmy, and you might not realize it. So, like, I feel like animal guides are like around you popping up. I feel like there might be like a guide on a billboard, and you've said you never got a reading before, so how do I explain? I would watch the video on spirit guides and how to connect with them that I made, Emmy, because I go into more detail on like synchronicities and how they kind of show themselves to you. But I feel like they're being very like physical in your space, in your reality, which sometimes, not all of us get that. We have to go like inwards or meditate. But I feel like they are very much around you. And so it's literally your job is just to pay attention to those synchronicities and be like, wow, that's a really odd thing that I just saw an owl in the middle of the day sitting on a light post, and when you pay attention to that, it's like looking up, what does an owl guide mean or something like that. I'm seeing lots of feathers and repeating numbers. That's crazy that I said owl. Maybe it is an owl. And yeah, check out that video because I talk about those repeating numbers and what those mean and how that kind of all works. Because when you're just learning about this stuff, if you take it too literally, you can go down this rabbit hole of like, oh, 1111 means exactly this, and owls mean exactly that. And you have to kind of know that it's variable and your guides speak your language, which I'm going to do a whole video about. So it's more about kind of picking things out and being like, oh, I feel like this is what this is about. So if you open a spirit animal book and you look up owl, all of it might not be necessarily true, but maybe there's like a specific line in there that you're like, oh, that's going on in my life right now. That really resonates. And maybe that guide is all about that thing. Like my owl guide is about intuition, and he has always kind of been my intuitive guide. But I've also had other guides come in for smaller things, or they won't be around as long. Anyway, so yeah, for you, Emmy, it's just like paying attention to a lot of those little signs. I feel like you're definitely getting them a lot in your physical reality, and maybe you're just not seeing them. Sally says she gets downloads, but when she lets it flow, I can hear and see clearly. I try to think back. I can't remember. Oh, I know what you mean, Sally. And I mean, Sally, that's literally just when you're in that intuitive space, you're getting a bunch of things and you're getting it all. And then when you come out of that intuitive space, and you're trying to be like logical, you're using two different sides of your brain. You aren't really using your brain. It's all kind of, I don't know, more in your mind or outside of your physical body. But so like a lot of times I tell people like, I can't remember at all what my reading was about because I was constantly in that intuitive, just like receiving and regurgitating. And so when you get back into logical thinking mode of like, oh, groceries and math and, doing work, it's a very different headspace to be in than when you were receiving that information. So often it's hard to remember those things. And so that's why a lot of psychics like record themselves. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. Sorry, Emmy. What was your question, Emmy? Where is it? It's already up here. You want to know if your guides have anything to say about your life path. And so this card, Emmy, this is Wizard of Awareness. And this is you. You're this like very handsome, elderly, inquisitive dude. And this card is basically saying, you are connected to intuition. Like I think of this card as being that third eye chakra, that intuitive ability. You are connected. You understand these things and you just don't see it yet. And this is, confirmation that you are an intuitive person is kind of how I read that card. And so I think when it's coming to your life path and your career, your guides are saying like, you have those intuitive guts, you know what you should be doing, but you're just maybe letting everything else get in your way. Maybe other people's biases or worries about money. At the end of the day, you know what to do. Talisman, again, coming up. I'm getting that that's part of this intuitive thing is having some sort of reminder that, yes, I'm intuitive. And so maybe as you're getting these signs like the feathers, like putting the feather on the dashboard of your car or something like that. And it's like those reminders that I think it's definitely that owl, because that owl for me is intuition. And I think that's my guide, at least being like, that can be a symbol that you can use, that can be a guide for you if you want it to be. But we can also ask our guides to change form, which I also talk about in that video. So having that reminder of, yes, I'm intuitive. Yes, I can connect. I think, you said you have a lot of doubts about what you're doing now. I think connecting more with that intuition, you're going to be able to feel guided a little bit more. Like your guides are specifically like, don't give her any answers. Just tell her she can figure it out using her own intuition, because you need to feel empowered to do that. I'm seeing what else and a lot about what I'm doing now. And again, I'm hearing again that like focusing on what other people say, or maybe focusing too much on the logistics. Again, you're in that left brain, that logical, analytical. Come out of that. You focus on the why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to do it? Where do you really want to be? What makes you happy at the end of the day? I think you can answer that like this, but I think you let all the other stuff get in your way of defining what that means. And then Emmy, the last thing that they're trying to say is you're also in this like deep freeze hibernation state right now. And so this I kind of take as permission to just rest. Like nothing huge needs to happen. Maybe you're feeling like my life needs to be moving, it needs to be faster, it needs to be going. But kind of like, I don't know whose reading I did earlier tonight, but it's like they'll lead you. They'll tell you when it's time for the next steps. But right now, it's okay to just be where you're at, I think is what they're saying. And I'm just going to see if there's anything else. I'm just hearing like trust, Emmy. Trust, trust, trust. Who else was Emmy? So Silly Rabbit is next. That's Corey. But she wanted to change her question. I'll definitely check out that video. That's so interesting because I feel like I know they're trying to say something. It's more like deciphering it. Yes, absolutely. And that's kind of like the theme of tonight. I was just feeling it. I said it at the beginning of the night. I was like, I feel like they were trying to come in and say things, and they're just like, stop using this middleman. Let's, get rid of Lauryn. Let's meet. And so that's kind of like the thing I'm going with for you. And so, I mean, if you just found my channel, kind of peruse around. I teach all sorts of fun ways that you can connect to your guides and use your ability. They're trying to talk to us. Our pets are trying to talk to us. Our relatives are trying to talk to us, but we can't always hear them or see them because we just don't understand how the psychic ability works. And we don't have it turned on, or maybe we don't believe in it. And I think for you right now, maybe your block is just not believing in it or not understanding how it works. But yeah, thank you, Emmy, and I hope you subscribe and stick around. I am on, by the way, every Thursday night, and for these live readings, and then like Sunday, Monday, I release kind of a separate pre-recorded video. I just saw a flash of a grandma sitting behind me. I don't know who that belongs to. All right, let's move on to Corey, and after Corey, I'm probably gonna wrap it up, you guys. I'd like to change my question to currently there are 2 people in my life. Both I feel I may have met in a past life. Any insight on future relationships with them or even a new love? All right, let's do. That's one person A. And I think once I start describing them, you're gonna know. And then this is person B. And I'm definitely hearing like for sure on the past life thing. I get a kick out of my guides. I had an extreme urge to watch YouTube, and you just started your video. Oh, how funny. Isn't that funny how that works? So many people leave that in my comments. Like, my guides told me to try automatic writing, and I got on YouTube, and I found you. And I mean, that's my intention, is that hopefully if you're looking, you will find me. And hopefully I can help. Let's see. So am I receiving for future reference information that I will need later? Sally, I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry. What are you asking that about? Know your why has been said to me over and over. Well, and I mean, that's kind of like with the career stuff. Are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want the money? Are you doing it because you're I don't know. And even that answer, like even though you might feel like, yes, I need to do this out of money, that doesn't mean like you can't have that job. That is an essential thing that you need to be able to pay your bills, and that is okay. But it's the understanding what is it that you're missing that you could find elsewhere. And so, for example, my main job is not this. This does not pay my bills, but it's what brings me excitement and passion, and so that's why I do it. And my hope is that one day I can have this take over as my main source of income so I can stop doing my day job. And so that's what I mean. It's like you can have both, but if you understand the why of why you're doing it and what you're missing and how you can get that in another way, that helps. You're welcome, Emmy. I believe my grandma is my guardian angel. Maybe that was her. For both, I've had a past life connection. Yes, I feel like more so this A person. Okay, so your question was any insight on future relationships with them or even a new love. Okay, so let's first just read them. I kind of pulled like the pros and cons to being in a relationship with them. So this first person, A, it's not going to be a very balanced relationship. It's like, I pulled this in reverse. So it's kind of, and this is pulling it up under pro. The pro is that it's not a very balanced relationship. So I'm hearing that you might end up learning a lot about how to set boundaries, respect them. Maybe you guys won't be good at like giving each other enough time, or what are things like people don't balance well in relationships? Maybe it's communication, wants and needs, whatever that may be. But it's a good thing. And I'm just feeling like it's a good thing because it's at first going to be a problem, and then you guys are going to overcome it, and then you're going to learn a lot about how to balance your needs and your wants with theirs. The con with this relationship is you're going to be a little bit more protective of yourself. Maybe for whatever reason you won't fully open up. Like this is like maybe your heart or something, you're kind of covering this chest, and maybe you're not as open as you would like to be, and you're just a little bit more protective of your energy. So that's maybe person A. And if you need me, if you're having a hard time deciphering between the two, let me know. I can pull more cards. But this is a pro for the person B, education. So maybe you guys will be in each other's life and you'll really help each other with certain things. Maybe that's like legit education, like maybe you're going to school together or something. Or it could just be that he's helping you educate you about yourself or learn about yourself or the world. Like I feel like whenever I think of this card in relationship to my husband, I was very like naive and immature when I first met my husband, and he's really helped me kind of just understand that there's more things in the world besides me. And he introduced me to cultures and foods and all sorts of things that I would have been too like narrow-minded to be into. And so that's kind of like the vibe that I've been like trying to get, or sorry, that I had with him, and maybe the same with this person B. And then a negative or a con of this person B is that this card is about like experiences. It's like having too many experiences that clouds. Okay, so what I'm feeling like this card is like when you do so much together and you're not really like paying attention to the relationship because you're just like doing, and you're distracted by all these things, and you're never actually like taking the time to like sit with each other, if that makes sense. I don't know if this resonates with you, Corey, at all. Two people in your life, both I feel. So I think that was like future relationships with him. Like those are like the challenges. You need to distinguish which is who. Here, let me. Person A personality. And give me personality for person B. So maybe person A is the more encouraging one. Maybe they're more supportive of you in general. And then this could mean a few things, because I asked what their personality was like. Person B might be a little bit more, I don't want to use the word depressed, but maybe just like not as a happy, like I'm seeing it more as like cheerful and not cheerful. But I'm also feeling like this card is also like, this relationship's not going to work out, this person B, and there needs to be this sad embrace of like letting it go and being like, oh yeah, this one's not going to work. Maybe I could be getting these mixed up too, so go with your gut. This one popped out too. It's the coming apart card. I think you need to pull away from both of these relationships, because I think both quite aren't working, and it doesn't mean that they won't work. Like you can't, like I'm feeling like person A maybe a little bit more, but what you can do is just pull back from the energy of it and say, what is it that I like about person A? What is it I like about person B? What is it that I don't like about both of them? And then kind of like what I was talking about, make it an order. I like that this person will help me balance myself more. I like that this person is going to educate me more. I would look at those two things as being like, that's what I need right now. And then the cons being like, I need somebody who's going to spend those quality time with me and not be distracted by everything else in life. And I need to find somebody who I can be open with. And so in a way, this is kind of like your order or your recipe for that new relationship. And then maybe you can come back and maybe one of these relationships will work. And maybe you could come to this person and be like, this is what I need. I'm kind of leaning, though, to answer your question towards a new love. And that's why I'm feeling like I want to combine all of these things. Like, I feel like I'm in front of a pot and I want to like mix it up and I want to put a little bit of everything in there. So I'm going to ask two things. I'm going to ask, how can you attract this person? And then I'm going to ask for like a sign of how you know it's them. How can you attract this person? How do you know it's them? It's almost like that same exact card. I pulled it in reverse though, so this card is coming together, but it's like pulling apart is the reverse of that. Pulling away from these relationships, pulling away from whatever you're like, when you get into like really being infatuated with somebody and you just can't stop thinking about them, it's like pull away from needing the relationship. What is it that you're so wanting with these two people? Pull away from it. Don't come together. Figure it out what it is that you're missing or you're wanting, I should say. And then have a talisman. This card, like I feel like every other reading, this one has come up. And so what I'm hearing with this is that intention, that order, that recipe of that new relationship. What is it you want? And can you make something that will physically remind you, this is what I want, this is what I deserve? And literally that might just be as simple as like writing out all the things you want and all the things that you don't want and keeping that in your purse and just every now and then looking at it. I just want to ask if there's anything else you can do to help attract it. I want to give you a little bit more than that. And this is the card that I pulled at the beginning of the night for everybody. It's the wishing well. It's putting those intentions, like your reading is very much like figure out what you want and put it in the wishing well. Because right now, it makes sense because you're like going between two people. It's like you don't know what you want because you're like person A, person B, person C. And I think the clearer you get, it'll just narrow those options down. And so make sure that whatever you're putting out there, putting into that well, is actually something that you want. And it's not so broad and, it shouldn't be able to cover like 200 guys in your nearest vicinity. You shouldn't be that desperate to take anything, if that makes sense. yeah, I hope that helps, Corey. And again, guys, if any of this stuff doesn't resonate, if it just doesn't feel right, I could be wrong. I could be staying up way too late and just not connecting right. Like, do not feel like anything that I say is perfect or 100% accurate, because it's definitely not. Not all the time. Let's see. Sally said something else. I just went back to rewatch the reading you gave me. Spot on. Just what I needed to hear. Oh, sweet. I didn't even realize you weren't in there. Is person A someone I was in a relationship with already? I felt like that. I should have said that, Corey, because I felt like it was somebody that you were familiar with, and it could potentially like be picked up where you last left off. Because I definitely feel like that person A was a friend or like somebody you had spoken with before. So I definitely think that's that person. Awesome. Thank you guys. And thank you guys for being here tonight. If you missed the Mad Lib that we did, definitely rewatch this because I think it was really fun. I'm going to make them available as like a printable thing here soon. But reach out to me if you ever want readings in the future, you guys. Check out my videos on this channel. Subscribe. I also have courses where I teach you guys how to do what I do. So if you ever want to make that investment in the future, I would definitely do so. One day when I really get a little more into this and really making a ton of videos and get myself new equipment and a new background that's not here. I'm trying to manifest in my new house, having a corner of the house that I can have a permanent studio set up that looks really nice. But I want to re-record a lot of my courses and make them a lot nicer and add more things that I've learned since then. And I'll probably make them a little bit more expensive when I do all of that. So get them now while they're cheap. And every Thursday night, I will be on doing these live readings. So I will see you guys next time. And if you can't remember, just go to my website. I have all of this information and all of my social media channels all linked. What do you teach, please? I teach psychic development. So I teach mostly right now, my classes are psychic development. On my YouTube, you'll find a little bit of everything that I'm into. Courses that I actually want to turn into courses are animal communication. I am going to have a paid course for that soon. That's already filmed. It just needs to be edited. I am going to have a whole course on dreaming, and I'm probably going to do another one on mediumship. That's the plan for right now. But like I said, my YouTube is all a bunch of like free little tidbits here and there. But if you feel like, okay, I'm tired of perusing around and trying to fit this all together, I just want it all in one place, definitely check out those courses. Now I know who that is. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, Corey, for donating. This was fun and insightful. Thank you. You too. Have a great night. Just signed up for basic skills. Yeah. Thank you. I think what I'm going to do too when I re-record that, and I mean literally this is going to be like years out, but I think I'm going to let everyone who already has it just upgrade for free, because why should you have to pay for it twice? Anyway, I want to study mediumship. Yeah. And I mean, that's, to me, I'm going in order of what's most important, and the basic psychic skills is like, you have to know how to set your boundaries. You have to know how to turn on and off your ability so that nothing follows you. You have to make sure that you're not in other people's energy and that you're doing everything ethically. Just understanding the little like minutia of like, don't just walk up to somebody and read them. That's rude. Don't do that. And that's kind of all of what part 1 is. And then part 2 is really getting into like, okay, how do I get information? How do I do a reading? How do I go from just like sitting here and meditating to asking questions and getting answers? And then part 3 is really the more advanced stuff. And that's like, okay, I've been reading for a long time. I'm feeling stuck. Or even if you want to open your own business as a psychic, and even if you don't want to open your own business or like read other people, there's a lot of really valuable information in there. That's why I made the basic psychic skills first. And then I'm making animal communication because it's like my next most popular thing that everyone likes that I do. And then, but yeah, mediumship and dreaming will probably be sometime after that, because those are all really important ones. And I think I've got a lot of important information about mediumship that a lot of people teach it, and it makes me concerned because they, it's speaking with spirits. There's not, there's good spirits out there, but there's also negative spirits, and you really need to understand how to not talk to the negative ones and not get yourself in a sticky situation. So yeah. Thank you, Sally. Let me know how it goes. And the cool thing about my courses is that you can do the homework online and you can message me. And I also do coaching sessions. So if you start really getting into this and you're like, I'm stuck, I need help, you can schedule just like half-hour coaching sessions with me, and we just go over what you're stuck on, and I give you exercises and things to do. And I love doing those because it's not a reading, and it's not like this live stuff. It's very specific to, I'm feeling stuck, I can't get clairvoyance, it's just not working for me, what can I do? Thank you, good night. Yes, Carla. And I really connect with animals too. And that's kind of how I started all of this. And actually, I did an interview yesterday with the animal communicator that introduced me to this whole world. And whenever people ask me how I got psychic, or how I learned how to be psychic, was my dog died. I wanted to know how to connect with him. And so I went to this psychic fair, and I'd never been to a psychic before, and I was really scared. And I walked around the room and looked for an animal communicator, and I just sat down at her table and paid for a reading. And she just blew me away. And I was like, oh my gosh, how does she know how to do that? I have to learn how to do this. This is amazing. And it was all out of want to connect to animals. And so basically yesterday we got on Zoom and we had a conversation, and I'm going to kind of edit it and clean it up and put it up for you guys. It won't be up this week. It'll be up next week. So this week I'm doing a review video on some books that I did, or books that I have bought. But then next week will be her animal communication talk. And it'll be really interesting to hear what you guys think about our conversation together. We talked about, what did we talk about? Animals and how to communicate with them after they passed. And once you start communicating with your animals, just like understanding that they have their own wants and needs and agendas, and how does that affect your relationship with them? And she kind of talked about where animals go when they die and how she saw it. And I kind of talked about how I saw it. And I think we gave out some good tips too of how to connect with your animals. And again, this is all kind of like a precursor to my course that is going to be coming out. But if you're interested in animal communication, definitely put that on like in the background while like you're cooking, because it's a longer conversation that we had. But it'll be up not this week, but next week. And I think you guys might enjoy that quite a bit. I'm so exhausted. I'm going to jump off, but it was so good seeing you guys. I will see you guys next Thursday. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.